Yeah.
And then he starts talking about taking it over for the state. That's an insane position to take.
It is.
When
And
people are suffering at their most, they can't
Yeah.
even believe it happened.
People are outraged at The Rock and Oprah for asking regular people to pay for the Maui wildfires when they are worth both $800 million and $2.5 billion.
Mixed reaction tonight from Maui, where Oprah Winfrey recently bought hundreds of acres of ag land in upcountry.
Now, we were the first to tell you about this earlier this week. Some disagree with the buy.
3 years have passed since the Maui wildfires devastated entire communities and claimed more than 100 lives. The news cycle moved on. The internet found its next outrage, and most people stopped paying attention. But one thread of the story refused to disappear, and it centers on Oprah Winfrey, her sprawling land holdings on the island, and the controversy that unfolded in the aftermath. In the months that followed, suspicion spread fast online. Why were certain properties untouched? Why did wealthy elites seem positioned to benefit from the chaos? And why did a high-profile celebrity relief fund trigger such a fierce public reaction?
But the number one dire need is money, is cash in hand, in pockets, and in bank accounts. So I've partnered with Oprah, and I've donated $5 million of my own money. She's donating $5 million of hers, and together we have now kicked off a fund starting with $10 million, and the name of the fund is the People's Fund of Maui.
Enough time has passed now that it's worth looking at the full picture, separating what was legitimate outrage from what was bad optics, and tracing exactly how an undeniable tragedy became one of the biggest celebrity controversies in recent memory. The story hit a major turning point on the Joe Rogan Experience. Shortly after the fires, Rogan sat down with former Hawaii Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard to break down the emergency response, and the conversation got sharp fast. Rogan raised serious concerns about displaced families losing not just their homes, but potentially their ancestral land in the aftermath.
Exactly.
You know, one of the things we went over yesterday, which is a crazy number, we were looking at the amount of money that was accidentally sent to Ukraine. Like they oversent $6 billion. And then I said, well, how much would it cost to rebuild every house in the Maui fire? And it's $5 billion, $5 billion something.
Yeah.
Like that's just like accidental money. But there's no talk of doing that. There's no talk of doing that. Isn't that interesting?
The way, and it's happened 2 or 3 times now where the Pentagon has said, oh, we miscalculated how much money we had set aside for Ukraine. So we have an extra $4 billion to send now that we didn't know we had. And this has happened a few times. Secretary of State Tony Blinken went to Kiev yesterday promising, hey, we're going to give you another $1 billion now. And this is the thing. When I was out there in Maui, person after person was like, Tulsi, tell me what would happen if we started to call ourselves Ukraine. You think they would give us some money?
Gabbard gave voice to a fear spreading through Lahaina's native Hawaiian communities that local government proposals to acquire burned parcels for public use could push longtime residents out for good.
But just imagine a governor going on television after a massive tragedy where you have, we don't even know the number of people dead yet. You have this massive area that's been burnt to the ground.
Yeah.
And then he starts talking about taking it over for the state.
I'm already thinking about ways for the state to acquire that land so that we can put it into workforce housing, to put it back into families, or to make it open spaces in perpetuity as a memorial to people who were lost.
That's an insane position to take.
It is.
Post-tragedy. When
And
people are suffering at their most, they can't even believe it happened.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's saying, we're going to take it for the state and make a memorial? How about give the people their homes back?
She also drew a damning comparison between the government's response and the community's own. Federal emergency payments of just $700 per household during an extreme cost of living crisis, while locals had to organize neighbor-to-neighbor relief networks just to keep people fed and housed. That frustration was real, and it was justified. But online, those legitimate grievances quickly got swallowed up by something far more extreme. Because the land issue? That was just the opening act. What really sent the internet into overdrive was the contrast between everyday Maui residents and the billionaires who had quietly made the island their private paradise, with Oprah Winfrey sitting squarely at the center of that story. She'd owned property on Maui for over 15 years, But public records showed that in the months before the 2023 disaster, she went on a serious buying spree. She spent roughly $6.6 million to acquire 870 acres of agricultural land in Kula, bringing her total island holdings to nearly 1,000 acres. For a local population already crushed by housing shortages and aggressive real estate pressure, watching a billionaire quietly scoop up that much land was infuriating. Then viral posts on X, formerly Twitter, started connecting dots that looked, at a glance, very suspicious. Oprah's Maui properties weren't among those destroyed in Lahaina. Her Montecito estate had also survived devastating California wildfires years before. To a lot of people online, those details were enough to raise suspicion, even though geography alone offered a far less dramatic explanation.
Oprah lives here in Maui. I was raised in these islands. My family are buried.
We've been meeting with community leaders, our kupuna, for the past couple of weeks.
That perceived coincidence didn't stay a coincidence for long. It mutated into full-blown conspiracy theories, with some social media users openly claiming the fires were deliberately set by powerful elites to push locals off their land. And once that idea took hold, it spread like, well, wildfire. Not a single piece of evidence ever tied the fires to deliberate land grabs, but the speed at which those theories spread said everything about how little trust people had in the wealthy and powerful when disaster hit.
I just want to remind all you real estate investors around the world, Lahaina is not for sale. Please don't reach out to these families and take advantage of them during the most devastating time of our lives.
That distrust was already simmering. Then came a move that turned a PR problem into a full-blown crisis. Instead of speaking directly to the questions swirling around her land holdings, Oprah partnered with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to launch the People's Fund of Maui. They each put in money, bringing the initial commitment to $10 million, with the goal of sending $1,200 monthly payments straight to displaced residents.
The People's Fund of Maui. So to all my Polynesian people, the people of Lahaina, Maui, if you have been impacted and devastated by these wildfires, and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of you have, I want you to go to the link in my bio, hit the link, go to People's Fund of Maui, and I want you to sign up so you can receive $1,200 a month.
Okay.
For months, just to help you begin to get back on your feet, to give you agency, to give you a little bit of control back of your lives.
On paper, it read like a genuine, well-funded relief effort. In reality, the launch video lit the internet on fire, and not in a good way. The backlash was instant and brutal. People were furious that two of the wealthiest celebrities on the planet had posted a video asking everyday Americans, many of them already stretched thin by inflation and a punishing cost of living, to open their own wallets.
So the problem is The Rock has $800 million and Oprah has $2.5 billion. They've both given $5 million, and $5 million isn't even a single % of that. And people are mad because they believe that they're using a terrible tragedy of the wildfires unaliving and displacing thousands of people on the island of Maui, Hawaii, to get a tax write-off. That's why people are mad. But they're also mad that these 100 millionaires and this billionaire can't make up the rest of the amount of money that they need to take care of these people. Because these people have to call up, they got to go through all this paperwork to start getting $1,200 a month instead of just be giving, here's $50,000, $100,000, however much you need. Go take care of it. Go take care of whatever you want to. Don't worry about it. We ain't telling the government, here's your money.
The question people kept asking was simple. Why are billionaires passing the hat? Why not just fund it themselves, or offer up some of that unused land to give families a place to stay? Things got messier when it came out that the People's Fund of Maui was being run through the Entertainment Industry Foundation.
But the fears that the people in Lahaina have, some of whom, like Archie Kalepa, famous surfer, community leader, Native Hawaiian leaders, family has lived in Lahaina for 9 generations, now being told, well, the state, the governor is looking at taking that land, taking ownership of that land.
Critics pulled up public tax filings showing the foundation paid its executives well, and suddenly accusations were flying that donor money was disappearing into administrative costs. Here's where the story gets complicated, though, because the backlash and the actual outcome were two very different things. There is no evidence that any money meant for fire victims was stolen or misused. The fund ultimately delivered around $60 million in direct cash payments to more than 8,100 Maui residents. Oprah and The Rock's contributions went beyond that first $10 million pledge. But the image of two extraordinarily rich celebrities asking regular people for money was already burned into the public consciousness. And for a lot of critics, that image drowned out everything the fund managed to accomplish. And while the internet was busy arguing about celebrity charity, something deeply troubling was unfolding on the ground in Maui. Homeowners who had just watched everything they owned turn to ash started receiving unsolicited calls and letters, offers from out-of-state real estate investors wanting to buy their scorched properties for next to nothing. One resident, Golden A. Lowe, went public with the fact that she received 5 separate buyout offers right after the disaster, and her home wasn't even in the fire zone. And this is where the story gets uncomfortable. The conspiracy theories about deliberately setting the fires had no evidence behind them. But the fear that outsiders would try to profit from the disaster, that part was very real. Oprah had nothing to do with the fires, and the evidence never suggested otherwise. But outsiders really were descending on Maui, and some of them were absolutely trying to cash in on families who had lost everything. That mix of corporate opportunism and painfully slow government relief didn't just frustrate people, it gave conspiracy theories the oxygen they needed to spread.
I don't think people understand how much property Oprah actually owns on the island of Maui. You look up pictures of the house and this is what you see. You see her house, a mansion with her guest house is also a mansion. But this doesn't tell the full story. Zoomed out on Google Earth, she has this exact division of property, almost 1,000 acres that she owns solely. One person owns this much property on someone else's sacred land. Nobody needs that. Her property has its own private road that only a few people can use. So when you go and you look at pictures of Oprah's house on Maui and you only see stuff like this, just know that's not her property. She owns 1,000 times more than what you're seeing. She bought all that property somehow for $6.6 million. If you go and you estimate the value of all that acreage now in Maui, it's over $300 million. So basically, she could sell a third of that land back to the people of Maui at full market price, which is still evil, and use that $100 million to give it back to the people of Maui. No one person needs that much property of any island. It's ridiculous.
Secondary voices only made things louder. UFC fighter Bryce Mitchell went public after a fight win, claiming the fires were man-made and spiritual in nature.
Also, too, these fires in Hawaii, I don't believe that they were natural. I believe they were man-made. They're trying to take the land from the natives, and I want Dan Ige, a native Hawaiian, to lead this world in prayer against the power of Satan.
Elon Musk weighed in as well, using the disaster to emphasize the importance of real-time local information during a crisis.
Billionaire Elon Musk deployed Starlink to Maui through SpaceX Starlink satellites to help restore internet connectivity to the community. This is one of the reasons why people are mad at Oprah and The Rock comparing Elon and Oprah actions. He did that weeks ago and it arrived to Maui on August 17th. Looking at some of the comments on X, previously Twitter, one is Elon Musk, who shipped over 650 Starlink internet kits to 40+ organizations across Maui in order to reconnect victims. The other is Oprah, who's funneling money into one of her organizations from middle-class folks on social media. Then he continues to say, I haven't met a single person here on Maui that's gotten a dime from Oprah, but I've met dozens that have benefiting tremendously from Musk internet connection. One organization tells me they're processing a total of 10 terabytes of data per day. That's a lot of people utilizing the connection. Other comments said there's nothing like saying, I want to help the people of Maui and not doing it, where Starlink covered expedited shipping and distribution costs for all kits delivered to recovery efforts in Maui.
3 years on, the Maui wildfires are more than a tragedy in Hawaiian history. They're a case study in exactly how public trust collapses. Because this story was never really just about a natural disaster. It was about the staggering gap between ultra-wealthy landowners and the local communities, who felt completely priced out of the places they grew up in. And here's the question that's still worth asking. Looking back with 3 full years of perspective, Was the intense backlash against Oprah genuinely justified by the way she handled the situation? Or did the internet take real concerns about land, wealth, and disaster profiteering and connect them to claims the evidence never supported? That's what makes this story so hard to shake. Drop your take in the comments because I want to know where you stand on this one. Subscribe for more Hollywood deep dives, and I'll see you in the next one.
Here's the real conspiracy about the fires. Like, they haven't done any rebuilding. Those people, they weren't allowed to have insurance inspectors go in there. I don't know if they can now. That people still had to pay their mortgage on those things.
Oh, jeez. And
the thing is, it's like, if you're getting to this point where you don't have anything and you can't rebuild your house and you're f***ed, and then they come along and offer you a payment or something, or you get foreclosed on because you haven't paid your mortgage, and then the banks own it, and then whoever the f*** is the developer owns it, and then whatever they want to do for the better good of Maui, they build there, and then these people lose everything. This is what's really scary about it. It's because, like, the way it's being handled is not like you're handling victims of a natural disaster that's horrific and took more lives than any wildfire in the history of this country.
You know, some people might call it a conspiracy theory, but it's starting to look pretty sketch to me. This footage is going viral, but I don't know, like, this is Maui, and the fires literally stopped at the $1 million homes. We're not seeing this on the news, right? And then weird things are happening, like the management chief for the emergency where it puts off the sirens, he like resigned all of a sudden. Apparently in January of this year, they wanted to turn Maui into an AI smart city. Locals were fighting it. You can read this, pause it to read. I only trust the locals, and she's saying conspiracy theories are proven true. Should really follow this guy. He's got amazing information. They're actually evicting everyone else on the island whose homes were not burnt down. This video is for entertainment purposes only, about conspiracy, so it doesn't get removed.